Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Vector K10 submachine gun. It was one of my favorites from MW2, and now it's back in Black Ops 2, and we're going to see what the Vector K10 is all about. The first thing that you want to know about this weapon is how much damage does it do. It deals 33 damage in close quarters combat, but drops off to 18 damage at a distance. Since your players have 100 health, this means it could take between 4 and 6 shots to kill. Of note, it only has a 1.1x multiplier for headshots, so it doesn't change your shots to kill very much unless you're in one of those special preset ranges. I do not go for headshots with this weapon. It shoots at 900 RPM, which is the exact same as the MP7. However, if you put rapid fire on this weapon, it'll go up to 1200 RPM. I don't normally do that because I take a range penalty and a huge decrease in accuracy. Of note, if I put select fire on this weapon, it stays at 900 RPM. However, it goes into a 2-round burst mode. It becomes a 2-round burst SMG. It's extremely accurate like this, but I found the 2-round burst to be very difficult to use. It might be more useful in hardcore to drop people quickly. However, in core modes, I didn't find it very useful. The 4-shot kill range on this submachine gun is 13 meters. That's its optimal effective range, and that's about shotgun range, unfortunately. You can work it at the 5-shot kill range, but it actually drops down to 6 shots to kill rather quickly. The Vector suffers from rather low range. It has slightly lower range than the MP7 and comparable range to the Chicom, which we'll talk about later. Because of this very normal rate of fire, relatively low damage, and mostly I'm just going to be assuming because of the range variable and the range at which people like to use this weapon, it has the slowest time to kill. It's tied for slowest with the MP7, but since it has less range than the MP7, I'm going to say that this is the slowest killing submachine gun in Black Ops 2. On the plus side, it does have low to moderate recoil. It doesn't kick very bad, or it kicks a funny kind of way. I initially wanted to say that it had low recoil, but it did have some recoil. There is some trick to mastering the recoil on this weapon, but with some practice, it should be rather easy to control, and you shouldn't have problems hitting people up to medium range. Unfortunately, the iron sights are a bit hard to use. They stick up kind of funny from the gun, and the foresight is small, which is nice, but the hindsights are very kind of bulky and close to the foresight, so I find it difficult to track targets, and it's just a little bit obstructive. For me, for the Vector, I absolutely require optics. I'm going to say for most of you, you're also going to require some kind of additional optics. I made it a point to show off a lot in this game. Red dot sight is good, EOTech is good, target finder surprisingly good. I have not unlocked millimeter scanner yet, but I don't think you'll have any problems using it. Despite the iron sight problems, it does reload very fast at 1.9 seconds. This isn't the fastest reload time in the game for submachine guns, but it is rather fast, and you should not have any reloading problems with the Vector. The knife speed is 1.12 seconds, and the run speed is 100%. These are both very common numbers for submachine guns. You knife fairly quickly, and you have no movement penalty as it's a light weapon. The raise and drop times are also very standard for the submachine gun class at 0.58 seconds and 0.30 seconds. The aim down sights in and out times are common for the submachine gun class, nothing special going on here. They're each about 1/5 of a second. The hip fire on the Vector is good. It's the same as the rest of the submachine guns, and all the rest of the submachine guns have good hip fire, so the Vector again has good hip fire, but there's nothing particularly special about the hip fire. The magazine size is 38, and when you go up to extended mags, it's 48. I'm going to say this is probably average for submachine guns. There's nothing very special going on about that either. I know that there's a lot of Vector fans out there, but I find that this is the overall weakest submachine gun. It has a very low range. The only thing with lower range is the Chicom and the Scorpion, but both of those have faster time to kills, and this has the lowest time to kill because it's tied with the MP7 with the lowest time to kill, but it has less range than the MP7. About the only thing it really has going for it is it has a slightly better than average reload, and it is a fairly accurate weapon, and it's interesting in hardcore mode with select fire and your 2-round burst, but it's still not the greatest of submachine guns. It's not a bad submachine gun in the same way that the Uzi was bad in Black Ops 1 or that the PM9 was bad in Modern Warfare 3. This is a very decent competitive weapon. Statistically, it's very similar to the MP7, only slightly weaker. The problem with it is it just doesn't have a specialty. It doesn't have a special role to fill. It doesn't have anything interesting that it does. It's just like a very generic placeholder gun, and it could be patched or buffed or nerfed to do anything more interesting than what it does, because right now it just doesn't do very much. If you are a Vector fan, then I apologize for hurting your feelings, but I do have some recommendations on how to use this weapon. I feel that it's best probably just with a red dot sight and laser because the hipfire is good, and you'll be doing a lot of hipfire with it in its optimal range. I mean, its optimal range is pretty much hipfire range, and the dot sight helps get around these somewhat ugly iron sights. If you don't like that, you can use pretty much any other optic on the weapon. It has fairly low recoil, so none of the optics are going to kick too much, and a silencer is not a bad idea because the range is already low. If it's already got bad range, how much worse can you hurt it with a silencer? I have ran it with a silencer in Ghost with some limited success. I try to stay very close to the enemy, and it works very well at that. However, at ranges it does kill a little bit slow. Even though it's accurate, it just takes a lot of shots to kill. My recommendation is that you just pass up on the Vector and use the MP7 or Chi-Com instead. Well guys, that's all for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode on the PDW-57, you can click the box on the left. It'll open in a new window. If you'd like to check out the next episode, which is going to be on the MSMC, you can click the box on the right. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube sort of stuff. Drifter out.